Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and in today's video I will be doing a solo questionnaire with all of you guys. So I'm going to be answering a lot of your questions today, so without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. Alright, let's see. You going to see Battle of Gods during the US theater release? I know Blackenfist is, but I was just wondering if you were going, whether you saw it or not. Well, Majin Soul, I actually have Battle of Gods on my computer, and honestly, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I kinda don't necessarily find it important for me to go see it in the movie theaters. I mean, maybe I would, but I just honestly don't see it. If I do, it's really to just support Dragon Ball, to give them, you know, $7 to $10, you know, so they can keep making more future videos. But honestly, it really doesn't make that much of a difference to me. Alright. Let's see, do you know exactly when you will release part 3 of your Dragon Ball GT review? I never release when I'm going to give away a video unless I hint that I'm going to do it. But let's just say it's going to be released extremely soon. Tyler went. Alright, let's see. How often do you come here to answer questions? Well, in the past, I was trying to say that I was going to just do all of these questions through video questionnaires, and then I kept looking at the numbers, and, you know, it was kind of requested by Dragon Ball Awesomeness that I should type some responses. And if you guys have noticed, I've been coming on here answering a lot of your questions recently. A ton of them, to be exact. So I'm trying to actually answer more in terms of typing instead of just doing videos. But I'll do a video for every couple of questionnaires out there. But I come on here pretty often nowadays. How many times do you have to die to not exist? I honestly don't know, because I have no exact idea of what happens in the afterlife, even though I do think that, you know, it is possible that we could be reincarnated into another form, but, I mean, I don't know how many times you have to die. Maybe you should ask, you know, Shenron and he can tell you. Alright, let's see. What advice would you give to a YouTuber who makes Dragon Ball Z content and wants to grow quickly within a reason, of course? I mean, like 10K after a year or so. Okay, I'm gonna put a lot of thought into answering your question. To be completely honest with you, I honestly think that I'm an anomaly, and here's the reason why. Because I started off making nothing but Yu-Gi-Oh videos, like nothing but Yu-Gi-Oh videos. And then I tried out my first DBZ segment on Why Wasn't Future Gohan Stronger, and then I did like maybe 10 of them. And then Jax Blade, one of my subscribers, discovered my channel, and then all of a sudden my channel started picking up a lot of speed, and it happened after YouTube changed its layout to the one we have now. That's when I started picking up speed. So at the same time, it also makes me feel like I'm kind of an exception, because if you look at economics, there's something called monopolies and oligopolies and the free market economy and all that stuff. And essentially what it means is the more competition you have, the less people you're going to bring in. And there really wasn't anybody out there who was doing these types of Dragon Ball Z segments, because I basically always had these thoughts about the show that I was like, you know, why don't I share my thoughts? And they got a lot of popularity. And, you know, over time I've gotten a lot better at creating these DBZ segments. So honestly, to give you advice, I say that you really have to tag your videos really well. I think tagging is probably the most important thing in getting a good, well-published video. Be patient and always try to promote your channel with other people. Like, for example, my channel got popularity on a Quora page on Facebook. My channel got popularity from Saiyan Planet. I was always telling people to go subscribe to my channel. Whenever I would play Yu-Gi-Oh videos, I would give them a link. You know, like, I was really trying to advertise, and once you establish a certain base with your audience, it's only going to get better, because Blackenfist, Thundershot, and I can all tell you that once you have a lot of subscribers, people feel like they should subscribe to you just based off of popularity, and that's what happens. When you're on the earlier stages, you're gonna have to take really dedicated subscribers to, you know, sub to you when you really have nothing. And, you know, Blackenfist has known my channel since I had less than 100 subs, and that was only about a year ago. So tag your videos really well. I'd say try to make questions that really make you unique, because, I mean, if you just take my questions and, you know, do them in your own way, that's fine. But, you know, the more creative you are, the more it helps. And definitely try to diversify your channel, which is what I'm trying to do nowadays. And I hope I helped you understand. What is it like in Antarctica? Well, I'll tell you this much. I've been living in Antarctica for a while now, and it's pretty warm over here, you know? I mean, I really enjoy the temperature. The weather is always great. I go swimming every single day, and you know, it's an awesome place. And the best thing I love about living in Antarctica is I'm really isolated, so I really don't have to worry about too many people and traffic jams and all that. I can drive my car all around the place. Antarctica is a great place to live, my friend. Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, bringing you another video on 30 minutes later. And like I always say, to have a great day, guys. That was me, and I'm a big fan. Well, thank you for mimicking me. And I was actually thinking of having a contest. You know, I have some secret plans for you guys. I'm not going to release them, but I was going to have a contest in the future with who could do the best Qaaman impersonation. But you guys didn't hear from me. I'm just saying, it's as a plan. I'm not sure how far I can execute this, but I have plans for you guys. Alright. Yo, I always thought you had an answer all policy. Why wasn't my question answered? Well, if you can see at the top here, I have 2,746 questions to answer, and every time I go on, I have more questions than the last time I answered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dedicate certain days at a point where not too many people will be on the internet to answering below my threshold for the day, because I usually try to answer like 20 to 30. But yes, I do have an answer all policy. Do you hate Pan? I personally thought she was the best addition simply due to how watered down Goku and Trunks were in GT. Well, personally, I think Pan could have been a much better character than what she was. You will probably see in my next Dragon Ball GT review. But overall, I think Pan could have had so much of a bigger impact on the series, especially if she had turned Super Saiyan. And, you know, I really thought the Shadow Dragon arc at the end was, you know, a little unimportant in certain aspects, based on the fact that they basically just made all the other characters useless until Sin Shenron and Omega Shenron came, and then when they got there, you know, virtually everybody was useless. So I think she could have been a much better character, Billy Vickers. I just saw your response, you would fuck your mom. Now, for those of you who are seeing this, a person asked me, he's anonymous, and I can see why he made himself anonymous. Essentially, he asked me a question: if I had to marry one, fuck one, or kill one, who would I pick between my mom, Blackenfist, or Thundershot? And I said that I would screw my mom because obviously I'm straight and she's a female. I would only put it in once and take it out. Well, I mean, he said I had to answer it, and I have an answer all policy, and I answer every question. I said I would marry Blackenfist even though I'm straight, and I would never hold hands with him. I would do nothing at the wedding, and I would divorce him as soon as we got out of the wedding. So basically, I would just marry him just to answer his question, because in reality, I would do nothing at all for the marriage. And I said I would kill Thundershot, but I would collect the Dragon Balls and wish him back to life. So that's why I said this. I would never do that to my mother. That's complete incest, and that's disgusting. But you wanted me to answer the question, and I answered your question. Do you know Man of Christ 101? Please check out his channel on YouTube. He made a video on the 15 things that kill Dragon Ball Z. As a matter of fact, I actually did see that video a long time ago, and he completely destroyed many things about it. And to be completely honest with you, I don't remember his name was Man of Christ, but I definitely remember seeing that video on 15 things that kill Dragon Ball Z. And I remember for sure I saw that video because one of the major things he said in the video was that Goku basically, he was like so evil for what he did and stuff like that. I disagreed with him on some things, but you know, to some degree, I respect his opinion. But if I can find the video, I'll post it in the link so you guys can check it out. Why did Cooler revert to his fourth form before hitting the sun? Billy Vickers, I have honestly no idea. My thing is maybe his fifth form was like, I don't know, like an outside shield for his fourth form that was inside of it, and maybe when he hit the sun, that like disintegrated before his final form body did. That's the only thing I could think of. Krillin had a big opportunity to use the Destructo Disc against second form Frieza when he was chasing him. That's very true. As a matter of fact, Krillin had the opportunity to also kill Nappa. I think at some point the Destructo Disc doesn't really hurt other villains. Like for example, Cell, it didn't do anything. But, you know, the destructiveness is actually a pretty interesting technique, and I definitely agree that, you know, because it could have almost killed Frieza you know, as it chopped off his tail, it could have definitely have cut Frieza in half. Why do the scouters explode? I'd figure out they'd get an error code if they couldn't calculate someone's power level. Also, how high is high according to a scouter? Billy Vickers again. Well, honestly, I think scouters have to be upgraded because I don't think the creators usually have a scouter that's able to detect the power level of a certain number, but I think over time the scouters advance to a point where it can take more numbers. Personally, I think they should just put an infinite system, but there's no reason why they explode except they just can't hold all that memory together in terms of numbers. Alright, let's see. Blackenfist versus Dragonfist. Well, considering the fact that Blackenfist is a human and Dragonfist is fiction, Blackenfist wins by default, especially since Blackenfist can use Dragonfist if he puts his mind to it. What Super Saiyan form do you like the most, and on which Saiyan? P.S. Keep up the good work. I love your videos. By Cyrus. Okay, Super Saiyan form I like the most, Super Saiyan 2, and on Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, for sure. I love Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. As a specific character, he's actually my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z, but the reason I say Piccolo's my favorite is because Piccolo is my favorite character all around. Like, I just love all stages of Piccolo, whereas with Teen Gohan, he was really only my favorite, and all the other forms of Gohan I wasn't really a big fan of. Why was it Gohan, Trunks, and Bulma are so much cooler in the future? Well, I think the word cooler is a subjective word, but I mean, considering the fact that they would have to be different, they grew up a very screwed up life where most people were dead, and, you know, the future was a very, very, very different place, so it kind of honestly makes sense why they were the way they were. So, you know, they have to be more aggressive, they have to be a lot more serious considering their life circumstances. Okay. Hey Qaaman, in the Cell Saga when Cell Jr. shit out the Cell Juniors, do you think their people cell absorb to gain more power, and do you think you can do a video on this theory? No, I don't. To be completely honest with you, I think Cell is kind of like, he actually looks exactly like an insect, to be honest with you. I think Cell kind of just spit him out like, you know, an insect would spit out other insects. And my assumption is that Cell, if he could have done that all along, I think he would have made his life much better if he spit out more Cell Juniors, but, I'm sorry, as you say, shit out more Cell Juniors. But honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with other people. I know you think that Cooler was stronger than Frieza, but I don't agree for a couple of reasons. Frieza declared himself as Lord of the Universe and the strongest in the universe. Frieza had a well-known army that destroy planets and was fierce. Plus, Cooler's army seemed to be weaker than Frieza's army. Well, I think I can disagree with you. Number one, Cooler is obviously filler. And, you know, I mean, by default, most people are going to say he didn't exist. But I'll argue why I think Cooler's stronger. Number one, Cooler said he was stronger, which kind of makes sense. Plus, at the same time, Cooler fought against a stronger Goku. I mean, you gotta factor in that when Cooler fought against Goku, Cooler fought against a Goku who had been stronger than since he fought Frieza, plus he was already a Super Saiyan, even though it took him forever to decide to use it. But, you know, that Goku got a Zenkai boost and was stronger and fought against Cooler. And that's why I obviously think Cooler would have been stronger than Frieza. Now, in terms of his army, I mean, I don't really think that's fair to say because, you know, obviously, you know, the Z Fighters struggled against Cooler's army and they were stronger than what they were on Namek. So, in reality, I think Cooler's army would clearly have to be stronger, as I'll explain later in the future with my whole power scaling theory. But as far as this, I definitely think Cooler is stronger than Frieza. Would you rather have a Green Lantern ring or have super speed like the Flash? I'd have to say I'd have a Green Lantern ring because, I mean, that thing can, like, basically wish for so many different things, and I can basically wish for something to give me super speed like the Flash. So by default, the Green Lantern ring opens me up to doing a lot more. I mean, hell, I could learn instant transmission. I'm just screwing around, but, you know, I could do a lot more with the Green Lantern ring, so I'd have to say I'd go with the Green Lantern ring. If there wasn't a limit on how many times you can go into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, how strong would all the Z Warriors be in Buu Saga? Well, it also has to factor in that they probably don't want to go in there no matter how strong you are, the hyperbolic time chamber is going to be a very stressful place to be, not just because of the gravity, but also considering the fact that the drastic changes in, you know, the weather and stuff. So I think that if they kept training for all those years, the Buu saga would have been very easy for many of the characters. Maybe even Piccolo could fight against the Fat Buu. I mean, if he went in that many times. I mean, you know, I definitely think it would have made a big impact, but they would really have to dedicate their life. And the reason I say so is that if they go into the hyperbolic time chamber every single day, which would be insane, you're going into the hyperbolic time chamber 365 days a year for 7 years. That's thousands of times that you're going into the hyperbolic time chamber, which is insane. And the amount of power you would gain, even if it puts a strain on your body, is just ridiculous. Do you think Broly would have made the Super Saiyan God stronger if he wasn't dead and helped them? I guess. I mean, I don't really think the Super Saiyan God has to do with power. I mean, I think it was all about you just needed 6 pure-hearted Saiyans to come together to make a Super Saiyan God. I don't think it had anything to do with strength, because Vidal's really not that strong compared to the other people who were involved, but yet she was able to make an impact in helping Goku become Super Saiyan God. So honestly, I don't think it makes a difference. However, if you're talking about Broly lending his power to Goku, that's a completely different scenario. Cinema Sins was right about Dragon Ball Evolution. I don't know what you're referring to, but so unfortunately I can't really answer this. Piccolo vs. Android 17 fight was awesome. In my opinion, it was the best fight in the entire Dragon Ball series. Soundtrack was awesome. I am not going to spoil anything about, you know, what I think about the Dragon Ball Z fights, because I've learned that so many of you want me to do a video on it that I'll do it. But let's just say that the Piccolo vs. Android 17 fight is definitely in my top 10. I know why Super Saiyan 4 Goku is stronger than Bills. Here is why. After the Goku vs. Bills fight, Bills said Goku absorbed the God power, some or most of it within him, so Super Saiyan 4 he would probably be or definitely beat Bills. How's that proof? Well, I don't know if this person's trying to either say that Super Saiyan 4 is stronger, or if he's trying to basically say that he believes it for himself. But honestly, I'm just going to go back to what I said. If Super Saiyan God took place before, and I'm just going by the theory that, you know, obviously Battle of Gods takes place before GT. Some of you are just going to throw out GT and throw it under the bus. That's up to you. But I'm saying if we're going by timelines, God would be before Super Saiyan 4, which means it makes absolutely no sense why 10 years later Goku would be weaker than what he was before. It just makes no sense. I mean, I understand if his power decreases as a child, but still, it doesn't make any sense to be weaker in the future. You know, that's just my thing. Why did Cooler revert to his 4th form before hitting the sun? I already answered this, Billy Vickers. You can check this video out to find out for yourself. Do you think that if GT Adult Trunks and Goten fused into Super Saiyan 3 Adult Gotenks, they could have been stronger than a Mega Shenron or Super 17? Absolutely not, not even on this planet. I don't even think they would have been anywhere near enough to beat those guys, considering the fact that, I mean, Dragon Ball GT is called Dragon Ball Goku's time for a reason, and considering the fact that Super Saiyan 4 Goku had to fuse with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta to defeat Omega Shenron, and considering the fact that Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you know, got his ass whooped against Super 17, and everybody else was basically a fly, I don't think Gotenks would have made a difference at all. Maybe against Super 17, you know, he would have done a little bit more damage, but I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere near enough to defeat Super 17 at all, or Omega Shenron. Hey Qaaman, in the Cell Saga, when Cell, I already answered this question. Marmite, I can already tell, but definitely you can check this video out to see the answer. Cinema Sins was right about Dragon Ball Evolution. Yes, I already saw this question. You guys are repeating a lot of the same things. If there wasn't a limit on how many times you can go into the Hyperbolic... Oh my god, these people are just repeating the same questions. Okay. You deserve to get 1 million views daily. I mean it. You're my favorite YouTuber. I also support Blackenfist and Thundershot. Thank you so much for all your support, my fellow subscriber. Okay, do you think that Piccolo and Vegeta can beat the weakened versions of 19 and 20 in Trunks' timeline if they came out? I mean, are you talking about Piccolo and Vegeta in Trunks' timeline, or the present time Piccolo and Vegeta in Trunks' timeline? Because, I mean, by default, they would easily defeat them since they were much stronger in the present, so I think you're talking about the future ones. I think they could have, considering the fact that 19, I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed, but it's kind of implied that 19 was significantly weaker than the androids. And it's implied that 20 was weaker than, 19. I mean, considering the fact that, 19 got, beat down, I'm sorry, 20 got beat down by Piccolo, and it looks like, the other Z fighters, with the exception of maybe Krillin, could have beaten him. So I definitely think they could have beaten him, but it wouldn't have been as easy as if they were in the present and they had trained. What if Broly was a good guy? Would that be different in the storyline? Definitely. I mean, he would have been a great asset to their team. I think if Broly was a good guy, that would have made the Cell Saga much easier, and he would have made a great ally to the Z fighters. Blackenfist versus Dragonfist. Dragonfist, I already answered this. Okay, this person repeated the same questions. Yes, I saw this one with Cooler and Frieza. Okay, I already saw this one about the Battle of Gods release. Man, what are up with all these repeats? Okay, do you know when I will release part 3? Yes, I answered this. How often do you come here? I already answered this. How many times? What is up with all these questions? What advice would you give a YouTuber? Okay, I answered this. What's it like? I answered this one. 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 Okay, finally, we got to another question I didn't answer. Hey, this is Sufjan, and I want to know how come when Gohan turns Mystic from Elder Kai, he doesn't go Super Saiyan? I mean, wouldn't that make him stronger? He'd probably defeat Super Buu in 2 hits. Sufjan, I can honestly say I've tried to answer this question in the past, and I've given up because there's no answer to it. I just think it's an inconsistency with the editing, and here's why. Originally, I remember reading somewhere, and it wasn't in the manga, but I remember reading in some forum or some website when I was younger that if Gohan were to turn Super Saiyan, I remember hearing that the Elder Kai said the universe would explode. Now, I own the manga, but I own the Viz Media versions, and I thought maybe he had said that in the original Japanese versions. It turns out that he never said that in either the Japanese or the Viz Media ones, so I was actually wrong, and I made a video on this. It was like one of my very first videos, and I put the video on private because it was a bad video. I was feeding out negative information because it was wrong. And I honestly think going Super Saiyan wouldn't really make a difference because of the fact that the Elder Kai said you don't need it because all your power is already to its max now. So honestly, it's up for grabs. I just think it's an editing mistake why he couldn't go Super Saiyan. Can you explain to me what would have happened if, in Trunks' timeline after Goku died of a heart virus, what would have happened if Bulma or any of the Z Warriors found new Namek and used their Dragon Balls to wish him back or wish back those starting to die in the battle with the androids? Well, I think that when you look at the whole new Namek thing, number one, they don't know where it is. I think Bulma's smart enough to use her technology to find out, but you gotta consider that Bulma can't access her technology the same way that she used to because a lot of her stuff was destroyed. Goku would have to talk to them about new Namek from Otherworld, which is possible. It's still dangerous to go outside considering the androids could always be around. But my theory on this is that if they had gone to get the Dragon Balls, I don't think it would have been as effective considering the timeline placement. Now, I don't know all the rules of the Dragon Balls. It's a little inconsistent. But you remember, there's a rule, I don't remember for which dragon, and I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments. After a certain amount of time, you can't really wish a person back. Like, that's why you can't wish back all the Saiyans. And plus, who would want to wish all the Saiyans back for life? They're not great people. I mean, Goku's a good Saiyan, and Vegeta converted to being a good Saiyan, but Saiyans are evil people. So, I think if they got the Dragon Balls and they successfully wished them back, I think that would have changed the series completely, and it would have been better for Trunks because he would have a lot less pressure in the future. But I'll consider making this a topic. I mean, it's a little hard to go into because I have to make a lot of guesses, but I'll consider this. How strong is Tien, and can he be equal to Piccolo or Frieza? Okay. Honestly, here's what I think. I think that Tien let's say at the end of the Buu saga, when we saw him, you know, fighting against Super Buu, or I can't really say fighting, when he encountered Super Buu, I'd say that Tien Shinhan was about as strong as maybe... I don't want to go too far. I'd say he's definitely below an android in terms of strength. But I definitely think he's probably around 4th form Frieza. I'm not sure if he's as strong as 4th form Frieza 100%, because that would mean Tien would be as strong as, or close to a Super Saiyan. But I definitely think Tien could beat Frieza at like 60 to 70% power during the Majin Buu arc. Why didn't Raditz come for Goku earlier? I have absolutely no idea. That question is just strictly writing. What if Vegeta got his wish of eternal life and killed Frieza with the help of immortality and Zenkai boost and then went Super Saiyan against Goku? Also, Goku and Super Saiyan. How do you think the story would go after that? Isaiah. I mean, this question's kind of difficult to answer. I'll say, if he got his wish of eternal life and killed Frieza and fought Goku, then he would beat Goku no problem because he would be immortal. So honestly, I mean, I don't really see how that would play out any different. I mean, it's complicated how he would even have a problem fighting Goku. It's hard to think of that because if you're immortal, really nobody can beat you. I mean, you might not be stronger than them, but they can't beat you, so by default, over time, you're gonna win. Let's see. Since Raditz and Vegeta were pretty close, would you say that King Vegeta and Raditz were friends? No, I wouldn't say King Vegeta knew anything about Raditz, considering the fact that, you know, when King Vegeta was in power, Raditz was probably a kid, and you know, because Raditz doesn't look like he's too much older than Goku. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I definitely think that King Vegeta really had no relationship with Raditz. Why is it that as a child and teenager, Goten is weaker than Gohan was as a teenager, although he's able to turn Super Saiyan at an earlier age? Keep in mind that Goten was born to fight and be a warrior. Gohan was not until Piccolo trained him. That's actually a great point you make there, because a lot of my friends and I have always, you know, debated that when we were younger, that Goten is stronger than Gohan was as a kid, but Gohan was stronger as a teenager. And the reason being is I don't think Goten ever lived up to his potential. And I'll make a video in the future on who has more potential between Gohan and Goten, but honestly I think it's because Goten just stopped training. And Gohan was training the most when he was a teenager, because he was or a preteen if you want to be specific, because he was 11 in the filler episode. But, you know, Gohan was training for the Cell arc, and, you know, he kind of did it by force, and he kind of needed to fight more. Whereas Goten was in a world where there were already so many people stronger than him, he could slack off. Gohan, it was different. I mean, you know, Gohan's hidden power basically made him the strongest. So Goten never really had as much of a necessity to train as hard. Plus, at the same time, Goten didn't really need to, because if he ever encountered a person who was much stronger than him, he just fused with Trunks. So I think Gohan kind of took more of a responsibility, especially because his dad died when he was just a kid. So I think it's all about necessity, but Goten definitely could have been much stronger if he trained more. Is there any way to find out who Nappa's parents and Vegeta's mom are? Sorry, I get a lot of questions of people asking me things that I can't possibly answer because there's no information on it. I mean, I would make a video about Nappa's parents and Vegeta's mom if I knew, but I honestly don't know anything about it. So I only know what's out there. What if Akira made a new series of Dragon Ball Z with an evil Goku saga? That would have been great, Isaiah. You know, personally, I don't think it would have been that important because of the fact that, you know, we've already seen Goku as the good Goku, and, you know, what if Goku was evil? That's nice, but I think the whole Turles movie makes a pretty good indication of what Goku would have been like, if, you know, if he was an evil guy. And this concludes my solo questionnaire of the day, guys. Usually those questionnaires are going to be an hour if I'm with Blackenfist, and they're going to be an hour and 30 minutes if the three of us are all together. But that concludes my video for today, and I hope I answered a lot of your questions, even though a lot of them were repeats. But please remember, as I always say in every single video, to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys, and thank you for all of your support.